Welcome to Sync Up, a show about OneDrive. We are your hosts, Ankita Kirti and Jason Moore. I'm Ankita Kirti, Product Manager on the OneDrive team.
And I'm Jason Moore, Director of Program Management for OneDrive. This show will take you behind the scenes of OneDrive, shedding light on how OneDrive connects you to all your files in Microsoft 365 so you can share and work together from anywhere while protecting your work from accidental loss and malicious attacks.
Today, we are excited to have on the show Chenying Yang.
So don't go away. We've got another great show today.
OneDrive Sync is a lot like electricity or internet. People tend to take it for granted until they have actually run into a problem and they are in the middle of an important project. This is even more the case now with so many people working from around the world, from their home, and relying on OneDrive and SharePoint to help them be productive. For admins, having insights into what's happening with the OneDrive Sync across your organization can help them proactively reach out and educate people to resolve common issues and improve user experience, and to help increase OneDrive adoption. And to help you with all of this past month, we announced public preview of OneDrive Sync Admin Reports in Microsoft 365 Apps Admin Center. Yes, Jason, you can cheer loudly.
Yay!
And today we have the expert on Sync Reports with us here today. So over to you, Jason, to introduce our guest.
Our guest today is Chenying Yang, a senior program manager on OneDrive focusing on making OneDrive Sync great across consumer and enterprise scenarios. I'm really excited to have Chenying on the show. She is a brilliant mind and she's done so much awesome stuff. So I think you're all in for a real treat today to just listen in on this conversation about Sync Reports. For those, I know a lot of folks have been following the blogs and the Twitter posts and the videos and demos we've done. There's been a lot of interest, but there's probably a number of folks listening in today that have really not spent as much time looking at this feature coming soon. So, Chenying, do you want to maybe share a quick overview of what Sync Admin Reports are and why we're building this feature in the first place?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. And thanks, Jason and Kita, for inviting me to the show. It's really excited. So we call OneDrive Sync Admin Reports. And the goal of this is really, we wanted to empower the IT admins, so OneDrive admins, with actionable insights. There are two parts. One is insight, the other is you make actions on them about the adoption and health of the OneDrive Sync client. These reports will give you visibility into who in your company is running the OneDrive Sync app and how is the known folder move status going, as well as surfacing any errors that end user might be experiencing so you can proactively go about and address them. And why we decided to build this feature is because we really wanted to help our customers be successful. That's really at the center of everything we do. And we know that managing OneDrive deployment and adoption is a lot of work. And increasingly, Sync Reports has also been our top customer requesting over the years at all Ignite conference, as Jason and Kita you're familiar with. We run focus groups with customers and just all sorts of customer listening channels. We hear it over and over again. So super great to finally be able to deliver it to our customers and help make their life easier and more productive.
So I have been with the product for almost 5 years and I have never seen this excitement for any other feature. Like the amount of questions that I've put in and just around when can I use it? I really want to use it. Is there a way that I can get a backdoor entry to using it? And Chenying and I had framed an answer that we used to tell everyone because we really wanted to help them and we couldn't. But it's finally in public preview and we are really, really happy that all our customers can use it now. So Chenying, you said admins can proactively resolve sync issues. Can you share more details, like what kind of issues, what are the scenarios they have to deal with, and generally the benefits around sync reports?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, Ankita, as you mentioned earlier, we usually use an analogy of referring the OneDrive Sync as the electricity or internet. It works perfectly most of the time. Occasionally, someone in your company may run into a problem syncing their files to OneDrive or SharePoint, and they may not even be aware that their work is not getting saved to the cloud safely. And that is when you as a OneDrive admin can quickly investigate issue and proactively help them resolve it using the OneDrive Sync reports. One of my personal favorite is actually from a customer story. So one example of resolving a type of sync error called invalid characters. There are certain characters that they have special meanings when they're used in file names in OneDrive, SharePoint, or Windows or Mac OS, such as the star for wildcard or backslash in file name path. If a file folder you're trying to upload to OneDrive contains any of these characters, it may prevent the files or folders from syncing, and users will see a little red X error icon on their history. And they need to rename a file folder to resolve these characters. What's interesting about this is OneDrive Sync app is actually able to rename the file folder automatically for the user. There is a little rename button that the end user can just do one click to make the problem go away. It's magic. But the end user action appears to be straightforward, but more than often not, the users don't know about it. And the Sync Admin Reports actually gives you admins the exact details on who are having those invalid character problems, which machines are affected, and together with all the other diagnostic information for you to proactively reach out to end users and help them resolve by educating them about that one-click remediation option. And that saves a lot of valuable time for the admin and for the user. We have many customers who actually run into these problems, and they are so thankful that now they have the ability to go and address them proactively. So that's one of my favorite examples.
Oh, that's a great one. And, it's interesting, like you make that point of, people can go and resolve these kinds of things, but they often don't. Maybe they don't notice it. They're not aware. As anyone who's done training for a user base knows that you can't get everyone to know everything all the time. And so it's really helpful in this case that you can go and say, oh, okay, this is what's happening, because it's not just that there is a file maybe that hasn't been uploaded, it's that data isn't being protected, right? Whatever content's been put in there, the bright ideas that have been written down, or the critical business information and data that's been saved in that spreadsheet, those things are really, really important to make sure that you don't miss out on, you don't lose those things. And so this is a really great way to kind of have that peace of mind that, yep, everything's in a great shape. One of the things that we talk about with this feature is it's not just here's a problem I can fix, but it's also here's why I can feel great. Everything's working. I know it's all working. I don't have to wake up at 2 a.m. and go, I wonder if Ankita's files have all synced and been in great shape. I wanted to talk about something that you mentioned in your introduction, Chenying, which was the known folder move, or KFM, as we often call it for short. We were talking about how popular admin reports have been as we've talked to customers. This is one of the ones that prior to that has been one of the really popular ones. And today, all of the top kind of deployments in the world are all based in KFM, leveraging that and doing that so you can make sure that people by default are leveraging the cloud and getting all the value out of OneDrive and SharePoint that they could possibly get. I wondered if you could talk a bit about how that would impact OneDrive adoption in their organization a little bit more and the relationship with Sync Admin Reports.
Yeah, that's a really great question, Jason. For those of you who haven't seen the report, in the dashboard, you can get a at-a-glance executive overview of what percentage of devices in your company that have known folder running, and that OneDrive is helping to protect these known folders and which folders they are. You can drill down to see which devices that have 3 folders, which are the desktop, documents, and pictures folders, which have only 1 or 2 folders, and which have not opted in to sync in those folders. Customers actually told us this piece of insight in the sync reports about known folder move has tremendous impact in guiding the successful adoption of OneDrive. Known folder move, or KFM, as we refer to, is one of the top recommended sync app configuration. We call this sync ideal state. It brings the user's experience into sync ideal states, automatically moves the desktop, documents, and pictures folders into OneDrive. And it enables the tremendous benefit. One is really about end users being able to work within the familiar folders. The other is peace of mind data protection for IT admins. And so, as Jason mentioned earlier, that it was super popular feature, no photo move, and it's being adopted by many, many customers. And what we've heard over the years is that many admins have told us that they have deployed KFM, but before sync reports, they have been flying blindly and not able to track progress and measure results. And in private preview, we've been hearing great successful stories. For example, we have customer who told us that they can now confidently present to their executive team the status of KFM rollout, which is really powerful and an empowerment for the admins. We've also had customer telling us that they were able to go proactively identify users who had issues opting to KFM. And then now they know who have not opted into KFM and what errors they're having. And these two information combined is really powerful to address these issues quickly. Personally, I just can't wait to hear all the stories about you, like user stories, customer stories, when we have public preview more opened up to customers.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. And it's, as you pointed out, it really is the pairing of the capability to do something with the ability to monitor and manage it really thoughtfully end to end. I love that about how these two, peanut butter and chocolate, great taste going together, KFM and Sync Admin Reports.
Yeah, absolutely. I will step back and say customer listening is really critical and a fundamental element of our product building process. We started incorporating feedback really early on when we had just a prototype of data sets without any UX. We actually even demoed this on stage at Ignite 1 year. We shared design mockups with MVPs and really just wanted to bring customer into the journey of how we make this product and then iterate on making sure that the feature is great at solving the right problem. And so, as Ankita, you mentioned that early in the year, we ran a private preview with a panel of customers really across a diverse set of industries who are on different stages of their OneDrive adoption journey. And thanks to their feedback, we're now able to share this with our public preview customers, and we're looking forward to generally availability and beyond. In terms of feedback, I will categorize them into themes. So the first feedback theme is definitely the Sync Admin Reports support for Mac. So Mac OS support is a must-have and something that we need to address as quickly as possible. The second kind of category is what I call data to action. For example, if you're an admin managing 200K OneDrive Sync apps, knowing that 1% of users have at least one sync errors is not enough to drive action. The admins have told us that they need to know a kind of like an aggregated format of the most common error type in a summarized format and be able to provide the remediation steps or tips and tricks. So data to action is the second categorized feedback that we've gotten that we need to improve on. And the third theme is really about giving admins even greater power so they can query the data behind the report via an API. We have heard there is a clear need on joining the Sync Reports dataset with other organizational dataset to piece together more insight. So these are three top of mind problems for us, and we're actively exploring solutions in the coming months to address them.
I love the examples you gave here. I have a couple of follow-ups on that, Chenying. First, thank you so much to the customers who've been in the private preview program, because this kind of feedback and focus, their attention and support, it's incredibly valuable, and it helps make it better as a product for every person that uses it. So I have a question that I'd love to just hear a little bit more from you on is, how common is it to have 200,000 sync clients? Is that, you talked about that number, is that like a made up thing, or is that a common thing? Like, how do people think about that?
Yeah, we actually, personally, I was just humbled for working on OneDrive Sync, we have customers of all types. We have small, medium business that have a few hundred of OneDrive Sync clients to manage, all the way up to these big multinational corporations that all their users are now in sync ideal states running the sync client. So it's actually really real examples. We have customers that were high touch customers that we're collaborating with, and they're running into this type of scenarios every day. And to me, it's really proud to see how the product that we build and now in the hands of customers and in the massive scale.
That's amazing. That's really great. I'm glad to hear, as part of the previews that we do on these things, we're really going to look at all sorts of scales of customers. So we're making sure to solve the problems for that smaller organization that has, a couple of handfuls of sync clients to the organization that has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of computers running OneDrive Sync. I think that's truly awesome. So that's cool. Okay, great. Well, I thought that was great to talk a bit about some of the feedback and things we got. I thought it might be interesting for you to tell us and share a bit behind the scenes, the process of building all of this fun nugget of a story for you and the team while you were working on building Sync Admin Reports. And I think you had something fun to share.
Yes. So I love food. So all my fun stuff usually involves food. This one is really about cake. Mm-hmm. To me, I'm just feeling super lucky and proud to be working with some of the most incredibly talented people in the team across Microsoft. Our feature crew across content writing and design and engineering and PM are 80% female, which is amazing. Personally, I've seen that the feature crew has a deeper sense of kind of empathy and drive for excellence and creativity. When we talk about creativity, so we recently launched a public preview and we really wanted to do a small celebration to reward ourselves. And during the pandemic, that one of the things we really missed was the celebrations that we usually do with cakes.
Can you explain a little bit more about that, the celebrations with cakes?
So every time when we achieved something as a team, it's not just about shipping features. A success of like driving up a number or achieved a milestone, we like to buy a gigantic big cake. Mm-hmm. There's a bakery like folks like to go that has like mascarpone on the like coating, and then inside is like very moist kind of like cake. Anyway, so we love to kind of go and buy these gigantic cake and delicious cake and just cut them into pieces and then huddle together in the atrium and then just eat it together like a party.
I'm reminded of the fact that I don't think we have invited Anka to very many of our cake parties, but we should fix that in the future when we're all back together, because we really do, for folks listening, we really do consume a lot of cake. And every cake, my personal OneDrive is filled with photos of what we put on the cake. We always put a fun message or a diagram or something related to the milestone we've achieved, which I find to be a lot of fun. All right, so a little bit of a diversion, but you're talking about how we miss doing this. We miss being able to get together and have our cakes.
Yeah, and usually now we just do like send each other gifts of virtual cakes, and that's not like real food. And so we kind of step back, and one of the crew members said, "Look, we should really consider the celebration belong to the entire team behind OneDrive Sync." And including folks who tirelessly work on fundamental areas, who are making our end users more reliable and performant every day, and not just those who build the frontline UX features. So this real cake celebration, we pulled it off. We made it into a team event. We actually had it yesterday where everyone got a coupon, a delivery app coupon to purchase something like cake. Some people bought cookies. Most people got cake. Some of them got cookie because that was their personal choice.
Sure.
And we celebrated together at our monthly team all hands yesterday. It was a blast, and a lot of people just had sugar crash afterwards.
Not as much got done after that. There's Sorry if that affected your favorite feature coming. I promise we'll make it up. We'll make it up. We'll work extra hard. But no, I love that. And I think it's a great kind of story about how the team kind of rewards itself and marks these occasions and milestones. It's really, really cool to see. I didn't get my gift certificate for a cake, so we'll follow up on that one later. I feel like I'm missing out on something really important there. Well, thank you so much, Chenying. This has been really interesting to talk through. I'm sure that folks listening are going to be excited to go and dig in, learn more. We'll make sure there are links in, with this podcast, wherever you've gotten it, that lets you go in, find more information, read about Sync Admin Reports, learn about the public preview, how you can take advantage for all of that. But with that said, we always like to ask a fun question of our guests, something that lets us know a little bit more about themselves and share a little bit more about Ankita and myself. So our question this month is related to cake. Often just even talking about it gets me thirsty. And I thought it would be fun if we asked a little bit about like your favorite, your go-to for either that drink you need in the morning or that drink you have in the evening as you wind down. Like, what's the one for you? And Chenying, why don't you go first?
For me, I'm a tea person. So I do have a collection of tea, and usually that runs at about 20 different types of tea. And so in the morning, I really love to make myself a green tea or matcha, just like to wake myself up. I feel like if I don't have like morning tea, and just can't function. And in the evening, so I have these like lavender flowers, and they're edible, and then I just make like lavender tea, and they're like really soothing, and then just help me go to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. All right, Ankita, how about you?
I really do not have a drink. Like, I'm not dependent on any drink. So I'm really trying
Well, we're not saying you're dependent. What would you like? What do you like?
I'm not too much of a tea and coffee person, but I think right now, because it's summer, is a nice cup of cold coffee. But if we have to treat ourselves, then the bar is open. No particular choices.
All right. I appreciate that. I originally intended for this to be what is the one either in the morning or the evening, but I love that you both were like, no, I'm going to do both for you, Jason. I really appreciate that. I think that's great. And I'm going to follow suit because I want to make sure I'm cool like the two of you. For me, Chenying, I'm the same way in the morning. I love a great tea. I usually drink like an English breakfast tea, like, a black tea of some kind. And I actually have a brand that I'm like super devoted to and I import. It's only recently, actually, it's now available to buy in the US. And so that's my favorite. My whole family knows about it, and they know that they're not allowed to touch that tea because if the stocks dwindle, I get antsy. And then my go-to before going to bed, I do love like a lavender or herbal tea of some kind. I think if I'm indulging myself, it's a hot chocolate. A nice hot chocolate can do wonders for getting me ready to, drift off into dreamland.
But that would be specific for winters, right?
No, that's fine. Yes, it's great in the winter. It's not as great in the summer if it's hot outside, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't tend to drink hot chocolate in the summer. With that all said, Chenying, where can people find and learn more about you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, mostly officially. I do occasionally pop up on Twitter. And so I think my Twitter handle is CY@Seattle.
Thank you again for being on Sync Up. It's been absolutely awesome to have you on board. And I know there's some folks going to be so excited to learn more about Sync Admin Reports, especially as it starts rolling out from public preview and then beyond. And we'll talk about that more again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. It's so fun.
Thanks, Chenying. So, what do we have for the roadmap, Ankita?
So this past month, we announced that 64-bit OneDrive Sync client for Windows is available as a public preview. We know this has been a long-awaited and highly requested feature, and so we are thrilled to make it available for early access. You will find the link to get the early access in the blog and in the show notes. So give us your feedback. Apart from that, we are continuing small innovations to make you more productive in your mobile apps. So last to last month, we had released a bookmark option for OneDrive for iOS. This month, we rolled out the same option for OneDrive for Android. So now you can add bookmarks to your important PDFs and pick up where you left off. Continuing with this innovation, we've also introduced page rotation to PDFs in OneDrive for iOS and Android. So leveraging the page rotation tool, you can rotate one or multiple pages so that you don't have to really switch your device's screen orientation when reading a PDF in OneDrive. And finally, we also released a small user education feature. So now when a user will delete a file for the first time, they will be shown a dialog to educate them that their file is in the OneDrive recycle bin from where it can be restored. This will show up on subsequent deletes until the user checks the box stating that they do not wish to see it again. Admins can also turn this off altogether with a group policy setting. More details on all these features in our roadmap blog at our tech community blog. So please do follow and let us know your feedback. May is the Mental Health Awareness Month, a topic that has always been very important to us, now more than ever. We are all living through extraordinary times, and this pandemic has completely changed the way we work, whether it is work from home or going to our work site. And along with this change, the fear and anxiety about this new disease or the well-being of our loved ones also has added to the overall workplace stress.
And that's what we're going to focus on today. Workplace stress during this pandemic. It's important for us to all acknowledge that we're experiencing something pretty unique and pretty stressful, and it isn't easy for anyone. So as we also look out for the safety and well-being of those around us, it's kind of important to consider how we're conscientious about making efforts to emphasize our own mental and emotional well-being.
Exactly. It is extremely critical we acknowledge the stress, be it at work or home, which I know might be difficult, but I think we should take conscious steps to recognize what we are feeling. The current situations are such that it can bring up a wave of emotions, irritation, anger, nervousness, depression, or just feeling overwhelmed and extremely exhausted. Once we do recognize it and accept it, then we can take steps to build our resilience at work and manage the stress, or probably seek help from a professional. And I also feel that employers, team, and organization leaders need to drive awareness and acknowledge that the work-related factors adding to stress has increased during this pandemic. But Jason, since you are a part of leadership, do you have some suggestions for team and organization leaders to implement so that they can help alleviate some of the stress?
I think the most important step is instilling open communications. We got to encourage our teams to identify and communicate the things that cause stress at work, and then work together with them on identifying solutions for those pieces. It also makes a significant impact if leaders themselves promote and emphasize the importance of practicing self-care and building resiliency during the time, as well as implementing healthy coping strategies. For me, that's making sure we're engaged on healthy eating, getting enough sleep, exercising, connecting with friends, family members, and coworkers. Avoiding that kind of loneliness and isolation that can come from being so separated, and engaging in fun activities after work, even if it's virtual. Taking breaks, the vacations that are aligned with workplace policies to avoid burnout. These things are all really important. Worthwhile to promote. We've talked about some of these things previously in the show. I believe we've talked about our FICA groups, where there are coffee chats that connect people virtually across these things. I think that's so valuable for exactly these reasons, but also the notion of self-care and really making sure to kind of take stock of where you're at and what you need to do. I think employers, any kind of leaders, have an opportunity and a responsibility to help promote those behaviors for employees. And the best way to do that is role modeling them. That is an effective way to actually show to people what you value and what you want to do. When you make sure that you're demonstrating work-life balance as a priority, that you're taking time for yourself, that intentionality is really important. One of the things that I like to do is to make sure people know when I'm taking time off, to be honest and upfront. Yeah, I'm taking some time off. I'm looking forward to it, and it's great. I sent mail yesterday to the team about that. And I think that's a really important way to kind of help make sure it's clear that it's something that you value and you see through yourself. And of course, on top of that, it's imperative for leaders and employers to drive awareness on mental health resources, or if possible, a large enough organization to have an in-house team or an employee assistance program that can help people find the support and help they need to tackle any issues with the help of actual experts on that.
That's actually a great suggestion. I know of Microsoft and other organizations that have hired experts and coaches to host multiple activities like mental health panels and seminars, mindfulness workshops, group grief and trauma support, virtual yoga, meditation, journaling, etc. I feel this proactively works some wellness into our week, even if we have ignored it or forgotten it due to all the stress and work pressure and family time, etc. And I particularly like a specific activity that Microsoft has organized for us, and it's similar to the Fika coffee challenge. It's called the Virtual Lunch Challenge, where you are challenged to have at least 3 lunches, virtually or in person, where possible and safe to do so, with your colleagues to help bridge that divide that you were talking about earlier, that many of us are feeling because we've not met each other for more than a year now.
That's right. No, that's absolutely right. And it's wonderful, those kinds of programs, what they can do, just, helping to connect people and overcome some of these challenges. It's a huge difference and impactful to mental health and emotional well-being when the leadership's directly engaged. And I know so many of the listeners of this podcast are leaders in their organizations at various levels. And so I'm hopeful that each of you is both finding ways to do that. And we'll make sure in the show notes below, we include links to more resources that can help you really achieve the most effective relationship and connection around how to help your employees and your coworkers and peers and frankly, family members and those in your communities, support them through their mental health journey.
Thank you again to our guest, Chenying Yang. To learn more about OneDrive and the latest developments, please follow our tech community blog at aka.ms/OneDrive/blog.
Please do send us your questions and feedback. You can reach us on Twitter at OneDrive, @Jasmo, and @Ankita_Kirti21. And definitely visit our show page for links, resources, and more at aka.ms/syncup. That's SYNCUP. Follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoy SyncUp, help us help others by sharing this episode and telling them about the show. Maybe you know someone who's deploying Sync and hasn't been able to take advantage of things like the Sync Admin Reports public preview, and this is the time to encourage them and connect them on that. They will thank you. And if you're curious about other cool shows by Microsoft, go to aka.ms/Microsoft/podcasts. There's something for everyone.
Thank you for listening to Sync Up, a show about OneDrive. We are your hosts, Ankita Kirti and Jason Moore. We'll catch up with you next month.